Right, so I do philosophy as an A level, and we're currently doing the body, mind, and soul unit. Discussing different takes on what the conscious being is. Is it just the body? Is it body and mind? Is it body and soul, or some other system? Is it monism, or substance dualism, or what? And we've gone through a few philosophers. We've gone through a few different ideals, and then at the end of every ideal we go through, we have to sort of discuss and evaluate the idea, and for the bonus marks, you have to give another philosopher's idea to back up the criticisms you give. And you have to criticize like every ideal, even if you agree with it wholeheartedly. And I'm unreligious, I'm secular, I'm entirely unreligious in every way. Yet I'm somewhat susceptible to the ideas of spirituality, just because the experiences of life have kind of led me to believe it can't just be, substance level. There must be some kind of depth to everything. But when I see lots of these criticisms coming against spiritual soul views, like people like Relay, or Ryle, not Relay, Ryle, or Pokenhorn, not Pokenhorn, the other fella. Pokenhorn was... Well, slightly, but not him. I'm thinking of someone else. I've forgotten the name. But when we go through these criticisms, they are from people who are non-religious as well, as I am, atheist, and they are very cold and clinical in their assessments, very analytical, and they just seem to say, no, these are completely wrong because there is no spirituality, there is no soul. And of course you can believe that, you can say that, but when it's stemming entirely from this very scientific based, aspect, it doesn't seem like a valid way to deny something. I prefer to be scientific, but I also prefer to, be open to spirituality. These people are completely blinding themselves to spirituality. And when I say spirituality, I don't mean religious spirituality, because I'm opposed to religion as the structure of religion. When you believe in the Christian God, you don't believe in it's not a spiritual thing to believe in. You're believing in, the doctrines of Christianity. You're believing in the stories of man. But these people are... As spiritual, I mean like non-physical, the potential of a greater substance than physical. And these people just say, no, that can't exist because science hasn't found it. Science isn't infallible. Science isn't proof of all. It's very good and credible, but it's not everything. It's not complete by any means. And if there is something designed to be completely beyond the capacity of human knowledge, it is going to be completely beyond the capacity of human knowledge. And just to say, well, because I haven't seen it, or just because it doesn't fit the patterns of physicality, it can't exist. That's clinical. That's cold. That's too scientific. That's too... They call it skepticism, but it's not. You're being skeptical towards, actual fact, that you can't be sure. You are denying entire avenues of knowledge because you side with science. You become too analytical, you become too literal when life isn't a literal thing. It may seem that in physicality, but if there is some kind of backing, some greater thing, that's going to have to be taken through metaphorical means, because how the fuck are we going to understand it when it is beyond the capacity of human understanding, when it is something we can't know? That's just the way it will be if it exists. And just jumping on the fact that it doesn't exist, it's not really a sustainable viewpoint, because you are, cutting it entirely off. Of course, be scientific, yes, and if you prefer science, but don't prefer science and cut off any chance of spirituality. Pokenhorn, who I mentioned wrongly before, is a good example of this, by the fact that he is scientific and spiritual, but he's spiritual religiously, which I'm kind of like, ooh, but with proof, we have proof of the credibility of Catholic religion, or Christian religion. I think it's Catholic, actually. But to be spiritual and scientific in that same way, which he describes as being binoculars, having science and having spirituality, looking through both at the same time and not closing your eyes to one, is a great thing. But he uses it to not denounce science. But if we do it in reverse, to not denounce spirituality, it's even better, because it's hugely faceted to human life. And to denounce it because you are a person of science makes you a person of ignorance.